Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to all of you gathered here in our sanctuary and all of you joining us online. My name is Laura Lesh. I am one of the worship associates here, and on behalf of Charlie's wife, Kay, it is my great honor to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship at Stony Brook. We acknowledge that we are located on traditional land of the Settlecot Nation. We are here today to honor and celebrate the life of Charles Vincent Aparo, better known to most of us as Charlie. At the request of Kay, the format for this service will be somewhat different from that of our usual memorial service. She has written short biographical pieces about Charlie's life and paired them with musical pieces of special significance to them, which will be presented by readers and artists who have been part of their lives. So, today's memorial service is really more of a concert. Charlie would love it that way, and Kay is eternally grateful to everyone who is helping to celebrate and honor Charlie's life in words and music this afternoon. As is our UU tradition, we begin by lighting our chalice. The flaming chalice is the symbol of Unitarian Universalists everywhere, the flame of our faith held in the cup of our covenant. Kay's son Terrence and grandchildren Winnie and Cameron will come forward and light the chalice.
Our chalice lighting words are adapted from those of the Reverend Christine Robinson. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life of Charlie Aparo, which we have all shared.
Meditation is a spiritual practice for us, which is included in every worship service to center ourselves and bring us fully into the moment. The meditation Kay has chosen for us today is mostly a musical one and will serve as the overture to our concert. Charlie loved music. He also loved Chicago, and he especially loved the Chicago skyline at sunset. So, we will start with a brief time of silence, and I invite you to think of a time you may have shared a moment or more with Charlie, or have seen him somewhere, or maybe only had heard about him, somehow. Peter and Dee Dee will bring us out of the silence with the beautiful Branford Marsalis piece entitled Chicago at Sunset. Allow your thoughts and memories to be enhanced by this music. Find a comfortable position, perhaps close your eyes. Focus on the sound of our bell as you take a slow, deep breath in, allowing your mind to clear, and then slowly let the air out, allowing yourself to relax and your heart to open as we enter into the silence together. Kay's daughter, Kirsten, will come forward to describe for us Charlie's early years.
That music was just so beautiful. Good afternoon. Charles Vincent Aparo was born on July 23rd, 1947. Born in Mother Cabrini Hospital, Charlie was the first of 4 children born to August Aparo and Catherine Scatia. His first home was in Chicago's near West Side neighborhood, sometimes called the West Loop. At the time, this area was part of a decades-old enclave of Italian neighborhoods within the city. Today, Charlie's boyhood community is an upscale, regentrified area. It's walking distance to the United Center, better known as the house that Jordan built. Charlie lived 3 miles from Lake Michigan and his beloved Ohio Street Beach. He attended elementary school at Santa Maria Addolorata, a church founded in 1903 by the Scalabrini fathers and operated like the one fondly recalled in the Blues Brothers movie. Charlie loved and was very proud of his Italian heritage. It was gravy every Sunday, prepared by his father before Mass, and followed with the obligatory visit to grandmother's house in the afternoon. As he came from a family filled with professional musicians and singers, these afternoons were the source of rich heritage, including a love of good food, art, storytelling, and of course, music. When I think of Charlie, the first thing that comes to mind is the smell of his gravy simmering on the stove. Rich, deep, unmistakably his. Charlie took great pride in his cooking, and not just the kind of, this tastes good pride, I mean the kind where he'd tell you how it could be even better by using his technique. His red sauce was sacred, and I swear it was never made the same way twice, except that it just always tasted incredible. He used to talk about opening a Chicago Italian beef shop. I remember him describing the menu with such precision, down to the jardiniere and the way the bread would just soak up enough juice to hold everything together without falling apart. It wasn't just food to him, it was craft. It was culture. It was his way of keeping the music and the stories of his family alive, not with instruments, but with a ladle in one hand and a story in the other. Something Charlie and I bonded over was our shared love of Chicago. But he didn't just love it, he embodied it. The neighborhoods, the grit, the food, the history, he carried it with him like a badge of honor. And even though we saw the city from different generations, I always felt a spark of connection when we talked about it. Whether it was a debate over the best beef joint or which part of the lakefront had the best views, those moments made me feel like I got to see a little more of who Charlie was. And I always knew that behind the pride was someone deeply rooted in tradition, someone who valued family, flavor, and the feeling of being gathered around something homemade. So today, I remember Charlie with gratitude for the meals, the music, the stories, and the stubborn, joyful spirit of a man who loved his city, his heritage, and his people.
Penso che io sogno che il sole torni ma più. Mi dice che non mole facce de più. Poi di improvviso del vito del vento del pito. E come in chiavo volare nel cielo finito. Volare, wow, cantare, wow. Let's fly way up in the clouds, away from the spreading crowds. There's a swing in the glow of the star that I know of, where lovers enjoy peace of mind. Let us leave this confusion and all disillusion behind. Just like birds of a feather, a rainbow together we'll find. Volare, whoa, cantare, whoa. No wonder my happy heart sings. Your love is giving me wings. Penso che io sogno cosa non ritorni ma più. Mi dice che non male lava la faccia de blu. Poi di improvviso del rito del vento del vito. E come in chiavo volare nel cielo finito. Volare, wow, e cantare, wow. Let's fly way up in the clouds, away from the brightening crowds. We can sing in the joy of the love that I know of, where lovers enjoy peace of mind. Let us leave this confusion and all disillusion behind. Just like birds of a feather, a rainbow together we'll find. Volare, whoa, e cantare, whoa. No wonder my happy heart sings. Your love is giving me wings. Nel blu, dipinto da blu, felice da fare lassù. Nel blu, dipinto da blu.
High school and college. In 1961, Charlie and his family moved to Evergreen Park, an area just south of Chicago's city line, and as it happens, 7 miles from the birthplace of the new pope. Just thought you'd want to know. He entered high school there, and he excelled in the two areas that would eventually help to define his life: sports and the arts. Charlie took all of the fine arts offerings available, along with drama classes. He was consistently cast as the villain in the theater club productions because of his handsome, dark, good looks. On the football field, Charlie helped lead his team to a division championship. As a star linebacker, he earned all-conference and all-state considerations. And this is where he met Kay Lorraine Alkema, and their first romance began. They attended the University of Illinois at Chicago Circle, where Charlie played for the Fighting Illini and studied art and architecture. On a winter evening in 1967, Charlie and Kay became lavaliered. Do you remember that? It's a sort of pre-engagement promise, while Nancy Wilson sang on the radio, although at the time, Kay said she thought she was the me in the song. She later learned that she was destined to become the someone.
There's a saying old says that love is blind. Still we're often told, seek and you shall find. So I'm going to seek a certain lad I've had in mind. Looking everywhere, haven't found him yet. He's the big affair I cannot forget. Only man I ever think of with regret. I'd like to add his initial to my monogram. Tell me, where is the shepherd for this lost lamb? There's a somebody I'm longing to see. I hope that he turns out to be someone who watch over me. I'm a little lamb who's lost in the wood. I know I could always be good to one who watch over me. Although he may not be the man some girls think of as handsome, to my heart he carries the key. Won't you tell him please to put on some speed, follow my lead? Oh, how I need someone to watch over me. Someone to watch over me.
Peggy Fort will come forward to tell us about Charlie's career.
The late 60s and 70s were a time of great change in America, and it was certainly true for Charlie's life as well. As the country divided over political and civil rights issues, Kay and Charlie also found themselves choosing different paths to express their beliefs. Without common ground, they parted ways. Charlie entered the police academy after working a college internship in the youth division. As a young officer over the next decade, he served during some of Chicago's biggest challenges: anti-war protests, civil rights demonstrations, riots in Grant Park following the death or the murder of Martin Luther King Jr., and most notably, the massive riots during the 1968 Democratic Convention. Remarkably, no lives were lost that week. Charlie worked 34 years in some of the city's toughest, poorest neighborhoods. He was proud of the work he did to help the people in his district. He and his partner even delivered twins before an ambulance arrived and were honored by the mothers naming the babies after them. I feel lucky to have been able to share the police officer's perspective of police reform as I talked with Charlie over the years. Suspicion and mistrust were hard for many officers to overcome because they were exposed to the worst of human behavior. Charlie shared how hard it is for an officer to understand that an advocate for police reform was anything but an anti-police agent. I listened attentively to his suggestions for gaining police support by recognizing the risk that they take every day. Although there were many traumatic experiences that affected him, Charlie never became jaded by them. And this was no easy task for a policeman in that place and at that time.
Day he woke up, bare feet hit the floor, grabbed a cup of coffee, strapped his Magnum on once more, fed the cat he lived with since his wife walked out the door. In 9 years he'll retire with a pension. Every day he suffered because he saw some kinds of pain. Sometimes he felt helpless in a world that's gone insane. Then he won a battle, it restored his faith again. It's only human kindness that he was after. He was a policeman, you know, all the years and nothing to show. He was a policeman, you know, all the years and nothing to show. Every night he came home with a six-pack all alone. Fed the cat he lived with, he picked up the telephone. Needed to talk with someone, but the only love he'd known was lost forever. He was a policeman. He was a policeman, you know, all the years and nothing to show. He was a policeman, you know, all the years and nothing to show. He was a policeman, you know. He had the world on his shoulders for you all. In the darkest of nights, oh, he stood so tall. With courage and strength, yeah, he did the call. Dusk to dawn with honor and light. He protected the streets, yeah, day and night. With bravery unmatched, yeah, he led the way. That hero in blue, every single day. Time of need, he was always near. A hero forever for sure. We will always hold so dear. He was a policeman, you know. You know, you know. He was a policeman, you know. You know, yes, he was. Yes, he was. He was a policeman, you know. He was a policeman, you know, 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 you know. He was a policeman, you know, you know, you know, you know, you
Wow. Middle life. While working for the Chicago Police Department in both field and administrative capacities, Charlie married and had 3 daughters, Jennifer, Christine, and Francisca. They are joining us today on live stream from Chicago and Texas, and will join Kay in a private ceremony for Charlie this summer. It was during these middle years that Charlie sought and developed several lifelong passions that helped to balance the daily stress of the job he held. He continued his love of sports, becoming a hunter, first with a gun and later with a camera, a certified scuba diver, an avid fisherman, and the owner of a number of boats. One of those boats, named for his affable personality, was called the Good Time Charlie. All of these interests were attempts to connect with the outdoors, connect with the natural world. He also continued his love of art, built a home studio, and painted many beautiful pieces, usually with oils or acrylics. He became fascinated with stained glass, started a commissioned business, taught at a local community college, and dabbled in the world of antiques. Additionally, Charlie's work in Southside neighborhoods gave him direct access to some of the best blues artists of the era. Nothing brought Charlie that big smile to his face more than being in the company of some good Chicago blues.
Hey everybody, let's have some fun. You only live but once. When you're dead, you're done. Let the good times roll. Yeah, let the good times roll. Get together, baby. Let the good times roll. there mumbling, talking your trash. If you want to have a ball, you gotta go out and spend some cash. Let the good times roll. Let the good times roll. I don't care if you're young or old. Come on, let the good times roll. Hey, Mr. Landlord, lock up all the doors. When the policeman comes around, just tell them the joint is closed. Let the good times roll. Let the good times roll. I don't care if you're young or old. Get together, let the good times roll. Tell everybody Charlie Aparo was in town. One hell of a guy, always raring to clown. And don't let nobody claim he was cheap. You got what he had, and what he had he didn't keep. Let the good times roll. Let the good times roll. I don't care if you're young or old, no, no, come on, get together, let the good times roll. I don't care if you're young or old, get together and let the good times roll.
Woo! Jill DeCandela will come forward to tell us what happened next. Just keeps getting better.
I have to follow that. In 2006, Evergreen Park High School hosted an all-school reunion instead of the traditional single-year event normally done by schools. It was through this occasion that Kay and Charlie were reunited after 40 years of separate lives, families, careers, and cities. Charlie had retired to Texas. Kay was teaching here on Long Island in Northport. After 1.5 years of letters, phone calls, and visits, Charlie moved to Long Island. In 2009, these two 60-year-old somethings were married outside at Danford's on a hot August evening. Some of you here today attended that wedding. I was there. The ceremony took place in the courtyard. It was so romantic. The sun was still shining, and the thing that impressed me, rather imprinted in my memory, was the radiant, beaming smiles they wore as they floated down the aisle. They didn't merely go together, they glowed together. The artistic football hero and his sweetheart were finally together after all these years, as they were apparently meant to be. Their smiles outshined the sun. It absolutely appeared as if joy was bursting from everyone in their direction. I also recall this music that was played as part of the wedding ceremony.
Nancy Koch will come forward for the next chapter, the New York years.
Can you see me? Should I stand on the thing? Probably the only one that needs it. Okay. Hello. After getting married, Charlie and Kay traveled often to Chicago, part of a post-reunion rekindling of friends, and also for family events. They made January trips to Florida, ever trying to find the perfect spot, and also to Connecticut, Michigan, North Carolina, and Seattle. But they never made it to Italy, canceling trips twice due to world events, and then illness. They joined this fellowship in 2009 and became part of this wonderful faith community. Charlie enjoyed the services, the UU's emphasis on justice, and especially the many wonderful opportunities to enjoy musical events. Many of the people performing and attending here today are artists he came to know and to love. In addition to the challenges of a recurrent cancer, in 2019, Charlie was diagnosed with an early stage dementia. This diagnosis became increasingly difficult over time and was compounded by the confinement of the pandemic. When some restrictions were lifted, Charlie was enrolled in a day program. And Kay and I saw a lot of each other when our husbands attended that daycare program. We'd meet up every morning looking for each other. We'd wait for the place to open. Kay would usually have her arm in Charlie's or her hand on his back as they walked toward the entrance. Charlie looked pretty darn dapper, I gotta tell you, all the time. And whether he had on, a good-looking jacket or a really handsome sweater, he and Kay made a handsome couple. It was pretty clear that Kay took great care of her beloved Charlie.
Dutchman's not the kind of man to keep his thumb jammed in the dam that holds his dreams in. But that's a secret that only Margaret knows. When Amsterdam is golden in the summer, Margaret brings him breakfast. She believes him. He thinks the tulips bloom beneath the snow. He's mad as he can be, but Margaret only sees that sometimes she sees her unborn children in his eyes. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. The Dutchman still wears wooden shoes. His cap and coat are patched with the love that Margaret sewed there. Sometimes he thinks he's still in Rotterdam. He watches tugboats down canals, calls out to them when he thinks he knows the captain, till Margaret comes to take him home again, through unforgiving streets that trip him, though she holds his arm. Sometimes he thinks that he's alone, and he calls her name. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago I used to be a young man. Now dear Margaret remembers that for me. The windmills whirl the winter in. She winds his muffler tighter and they sit in the kitchen. Some tea with whiskey keeps away the dew. He sees her for a moment, calls her name. She makes the bed up singing some old love song. A song Margaret learned when it was very new. He hums a line or two, and they sing together in the dark. The Dutchman falls asleep, and Margaret blows the candle out. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago I used to be a young man. Now dear Margaret remembers that for me. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago I used to be a young man. Now dear Margaret remembers that for me. Now dear Margaret remembers that for me.
Finding the best in the worst. Charlie's love of art and music continued through the middle stages of his disease. His day program's creations were highlighted in 2 art shows in Port Jeff in 2021. He also took private art lessons with an art therapist during this time. Dr. Beth Dolginko recalls, and I quote, "Charlie's realistic paintings had been masterful, but suffering with a degenerative disorder meant that his art was of a different quality than it had been. We focused on the aesthetics of his art and had fun deciding what the subject matter and the symbolism was in his paintings. Charlie accepted this change with grace and dignity, just as he accepted his illness. When Charlie could no longer put paintbrush to paper or speak in words that made sense, he used drumsticks to keep time to music. Often, Kay and friends would use various rhythm instruments as musical communication. Nothing prepares the caregiver for the world of dementia. There are no roadmaps for the eventual twists and turns, often frightening, always sad. And whether you've been together 50 years, or in Charlie and Kay's case, just 10 at that time, you get on board, buckle up, and go wherever the ride takes you.
Everything must change. Nothing stays the same. Everyone will change. No one stays the same. The young become the old, and mysteries do unfold. 'Cause that's the way of time. Nothing and no one goes unchanged. There are not many things in this world you can be sure of, except rain falls from the clouds, sun lights up the sky, and hummingbirds do fly. Winter turns to spring. A wounded heart will heal, but never much too soon. Yes, everything will change. The young become the old, and mysteries do unfold, 'cause that's the way of time. Nothing and no one goes unchanged. There are not many things in life you can be sure of, except rain comes from the clouds, sun lights up the sky, and hummingbirds do fly. There are not many things in this life you can be sure of, except rain falls from the clouds, sun lights up the sky, and hummingbirds do fly. Rain falls, sun shines, and hummingbirds do fly.
Life is a Circle, our finale. Sometimes a life story is a direct path. It starts at a point X, works towards a goal, and achieves it. Sometimes a life story is staggered. It moves forward and back, gaining and losing ground. And just sometimes life is a circle, starting in one place and much later following itself right back where it started. And so it was with the story of the life of Charles Vincent Aparo. After many years and many rich, fulfilling experiences with family, friends, career, and interests that he loved dearly, Charlie's heart and Charlie's life sometime found their way back to the person he'd left it with many years earlier in their sweet home. You know, Chicago. So what better finale for this concert could there be then home, sweet home, Chicago.
4.
Baby, don't you wanna go? Hey, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to that same old place, child. Sweet home, Chicago. 1 and 1 is 2. I know that 2 and 2 is 4. I got my favorite suitcase packed, and baby, I'm heading for the door. Hey, baby, won't you wanna go back to that same old place, child? Sweet home, Chicago. 4 and 2 is 6. I know that 6 and 2 is 8. I'm begging you, oh baby, don't you make me late. Hey, baby, don't you wanna go? Same old place, child, sweet home Chicago. Tricks you one time, they're gonna do it again. Hey, baby, won't you wanna go to Charlie's favorite place, sweet home Chicago? 1 and 1 is 2, you know that 2 and 3 is 5. I've had a whole lot of love for you, baby. You were fine and you were mine. Hey, baby, don't you wanna go back to that same old place, child, sweet home Chicago? Back to the same old place, child, sweet home Chicago. For you, Charlie. You got it right. Thank you.
I know you all join me in a huge thank you to our magnificent musicians, our music director, Dan Weymouth, Peter Winkler, Dee Dee Cook, Claudia Jacobs, Linda Cortese, Rich Hall, Ron Posnack, Tom Pelletier, and Jennifer Michael Kaiza. On behalf of myself, Kay, and her family, I give you all a heartfelt thanks for coming. For those of you here, when we finish, if we clear the sanctuary for a brief time, our hospitality team and ushers will be able to clear the chairs and set up the tables for the celebratory reception. You will find wonderful food, Italian of course, down the hall in the blue room, and beverages are in the hallway. When you get back in here, we'll be all set up. Restrooms are also in that direction down the hall. We hope those of you online will celebrate wherever you are. But first, Kay herself will come forward to extinguish our chalice, followed by Linda Michael, who will deliver the benediction. With the circle completed, our concert is concluded, and I offer these words adapted from those of James Galasinski. Our faith, like a light, illuminates the path before us so that we can face hurt with love, cultivate compassion, live humbly in community, and confront despair with the awe of life as Charlie did. Though our flame is extinguished, our face shines bright before us.
For the benediction, I offer these words of T.S. Eliot. What we call a beginning is often the end, and to make an end is to make a beginning. The end is where we start from. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming. Please enjoy our food that we have down the hallway. And thank you so much to everyone here. It was in my head, and to see it for real is just amazing. Thank you so very much.
Okay, let the good times roll.